Holy shit. He said what?
Many people doubt Meghan has long been a mother, following her attendance at Northwestern University.
Imagine building your entire brand on being the royal family's rebel princess, only for the internet to dig up a rumor that you might have been hiding a whole daughter for 3 decades. Meghan Markle doesn't just have skeletons in her closet. She's got a maternity ward in there. While she's busy giving interviews about finding her voice and crying about being silenced, people are asking, "Girl, where was your voice when you were allegedly signing secret annulment papers in Vegas?" Because let's be real, if Meghan's life were a Netflix show, the tagline would be, "New season, same lies, different prince." Every year, another leak, another scandal, another chapter in the world's messiest royal soap opera. And this time, it's not about tiaras, not about titles. It's about a child that nobody was supposed to know existed. The official story says Meghan took a gap year for soul searching. Sure. Except instead of hiking in Europe, the rumor mill says she was hiking down the aisle, saying "I do" to Joe Giuliano. And then 9 months later, boom, rumors of a baby girl. And the craziest part? Prince Harry supposedly had no clue.
Meghan began dating Joe Giuliano. And the couple got married after having a child when Meghan was almost 20.
So here's the thing. Meghan Markle's official story has a giant hole in it. Like the kind of hole you don't patch with excuses. You patch with lies and sealed court records. After graduating high school in 1994, the narrative goes, Meghan decided to take a gap year before college. Sounds wholesome, right? Traveling, self-discovery, eating gelato in Italy. Except there's just one problem. Nobody can prove a single thing about where she actually was. No travel receipts, no photos, no friends recalling wild adventures. Nothing. Just Meghan's word, which at this point has the credibility of a used car salesman with a forged license. Instead of backpacking across Europe, rumors say she was strapping on a wedding dress in Las Vegas, secretly marrying her teenage boyfriend. And honestly, doesn't that sound way more like the Meghan we know today? The queen of do whatever it takes suddenly disappears for 12 months, and all we get is the vaguest explanation in history. Please. That gap year looks less like soul-searching and more like damage control. And here's the kicker. If this missing year really did involve a baby, then Meghan didn't just take a gap year, she took a gap child.
What?
Joshua Silverstein was her very first boyfriend. They were both only 13.
According to reports, Noelle was born in or around 1999.
But wait, this rabbit hole gets deeper. Let's talk about Vegas, the city where bad decisions aren't just made. They're immortalized in neon lights. And according to rumors, Meghan Markle wasn't there for slot machines or cheap buffets. Nope, she was allegedly walking down some bargain bin aisle to marry Joe Giuliano, her teenage flame. Not exactly Windsor Castle material, but hey, Meghan's always had a talent for trading up. This wasn't some glittery celebrity elopement either. 2 family witnesses, a courthouse, and boom, wedded bliss. Except not really, because the marriage lasted about as long as a free hotel drink voucher. Months later, an annulment was filed. And here's where it gets suspicious. The record was sealed in Vegas, a city where you can dig up Elvis-themed divorces from the 70s. But somehow Meghan's paperwork is locked away like it's a matter of national security. Why? What was so scandalous that officials slammed the vault shut on her teenage love life? It sure wasn't because they cared about her privacy. Vegas courts don't hand out secrecy like party favors. Unless, of course, there was something in those papers that could ruin the perfect self-made Duchess fairy tale she'd be selling years later. And trust me, this wedding was just the opening act of the chaos show.
Which fits the timeline perfectly.
It's really quite sad.
You know, I think as she told it, she approached me.
But apparently for me, that doesn't matter.
Given her appearance, Noelle does share some similarities with Joe and Meghan, and she's even more like Meghan.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Here's where Meghan's gap year tale really starts to collapse. Because whispers don't just talk about a teenage wedding, they talk about a pregnancy. Yeah, that's right. While the official story paints her as some globe-trotting free spirit, the rumor mill says she was dealing with something a whole lot less Instagrammable. A baby bump. By mid-1995, the story goes, Meghan had a daughter. Not a rumor about college trips, not a vague tale about finding herself, a whole child. And instead of owning up, she allegedly handed the baby over to the Giuliano family like she was dropping off dry cleaning. Raised quietly. No adoption papers, no public acknowledgement, just erased from Meghan's shiny narrative like she'd never existed. And let's be honest, Doesn't this sound exactly like Meghan's MO? Reinvent, erase, repackage. 1 minute she's a Hollywood extra, next she's a royal duchess. 1 minute there's a husband and maybe a baby, next she's scrubbing the record clean. The Giuliano family supposedly raised that little girl in silence, while Meghan went off to Northwestern to rebrand herself as the picture-perfect starlet with no baggage.
Meghan was researching the prince online and found out that the prince is now duped, so I can now go ahead and marry him. At that stage, Meghan contacted Joe, told him that, look, if you open your mouth, I'm gonna sue you.
But you can only bury secrets for so long. And this one just turned 30. If the rumors are true, Meghan Markle didn't just walk away from a teenage marriage. She walked away from her own flesh and blood. The Giuliano family, by all accounts, were old school, private, traditional. They valued family, commitment, stability. Meghan, she valued escape routes. So the alleged arrangement was struck. The Giulianos would raise the child and Meghan would vanish into her shiny, baggage-free new life. No papers, no adoption, no official trail. Just a silent trade-off, like a business transaction nobody wanted to admit. And that's the part that's so on brand for Meghan. Every chapter of her story seems to come with a vanishing act. Friends disappear. Family gets cut off. Relationships end in scorched earth. So why would motherhood be any different? If a baby threatened her big dreams of acting and social climbing, she'd treat it like she treats everyone else who stops being useful. Delete, block, pretend they never existed. Meanwhile, the Giulianos were left holding the reality Meghan didn't want. They raised a child hidden from the public eye, while Meghan strutted off to college like her slate was squeaky clean. But secrets don't stay buried forever, and this one could shatter the royal facade she's clung to.
Very clear to me at the time that, we were together, I would say. Yeah, she had a very clear idea of where she wanted her path to take her.
By the time Meghan Markle stepped foot on Northwestern's campus, you'd think she'd been dropped out of the sky. Brand new identity, polished smile, zero baggage. It was like watching someone reboot their entire operating system. No teenage marriage, no annulment, no whispers of a baby. Just actress in training Meghan, pretending the past didn't exist. It wasn't reinvention. It was witness protection without the government contract. Let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't some starry-eyed freshman chasing dreams. This was a calculated reboot. Meghan didn't just distance herself from the Giuliano family. She erased them from her life script. Poof, gone. Like they were some extra in a movie she cut out of the final edit. She rolled into college selling the image of a free-spirited, worldly traveler, when in reality, her so-called gap year had more red flags than a Buckingham Palace scandal memo. And people bought it. Professors, classmates, casting directors, everyone swallowed the reinvention without asking what it cost. Meghan's entire rise started with one lie layered on top of another until the foundation of her story was nothing but smoke. But smoke always clears, and what's left behind usually isn't pretty.
And right now we're in Beverly Hills, and we're gonna pass the Beverly Hilton Hotel where I'll be on Sunday meeting the other Northwest.
Meghan, she loved me. I'm a hero, and suddenly I was thrown out.
Meghan thought she was slick. Wipe the slate clean, swap out the old life for a shiny new script, and hope nobody notices the missing chapters. But the problem with secrets is they always leak. And in Meghan's case, they dripped out like a broken faucet. Friends of the Giuliano family, they couldn't quite keep their mouths shut. Over the years, little hints kept surfacing. Always vague, always careful, but always the same storyline. Meghan's past wasn't as spotless as she wanted the world to believe. And here's the kicker. Too many whispers started sounding identical. Different people, different places, same story. A teenage wedding, a hidden baby, a sealed annulment. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern. And if there's one thing Meghan can't control, it's other people's memories. She can ghost family, cut off old friends, and bulldoze anyone who doesn't fit her narrative. But she can't rewrite the whispers that float around like smoke at a fire scene. The more she climbed, Hollywood, the royals, global spotlight, the louder those whispers grew. Every new headline about Meghan speaking her truth only made people hungrier for the truth she never talks about. And that truth? It's got a 30-year-old birthday cake on it.
He wiped out all kind of pictures, communications with Joe.
And now we've arrived at the part Meghan Markle has to dread the most, the calendar. Because if the whispers are true, that hidden daughter isn't some phantom of the past anymore. She's a grown woman, 30 years old, with her own voice, her own power, and absolutely nothing stopping her from stepping into the light. One headline, one interview, one DNA test. That's all it would take to flip Meghan's carefully scripted royal rebel narrative into a cautionary tale about lies, ambition, and abandonment. Think about it. Meghan has built an empire on telling her version of the story. She cried on primetime television. She positioned herself as the victim silenced by the monarchy. But what happens if the person she allegedly silenced first, her own daughter, suddenly decides she's tired of being invisible? That's not a PR crisis. That's a demolition. For 30 years, Meghan has allegedly kept this chapter padlocked, betting that silence and sealed records would hold forever. But time doesn't stay quiet. Children grow up, secrets grow teeth, and if this daughter ever speaks, it won't just bruise Meghan's image. It could obliterate the royal brand she clung to like a lifeline. And the best part? Meghan won't control the script this time.
At the time, that we were together, it's what kids did, right? So she told her friends she liked me, I told my friends I liked her, and then our friends met, and then they kind of arranged it, and then we became girlfriend and boyfriend.
Meghan Markle has spent years selling the world a polished image. But Polish can't hide cracks this deep. A missing year that doesn't add up. A Vegas annulment sealed like it holds nuclear codes. Whispers of a daughter that's no longer a rumor, but a 30-year-old reality waiting to be acknowledged. Meghan can play the role of victim. She can spin interviews and documentaries, but none of that erases the questions that stalk her past. The silence isn't strength, it's fear. Fear that the story she buried will come walking into the spotlight and dismantle everything she's built. Because no matter how carefully Meghan crafts her narrative, the truth has a way of slipping through the cracks. And when it does, it won't just bruise her reputation, it will bulldoze the entire image she's fought to maintain. You can run from critics, you can dodge headlines, but you can't outrun blood. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a countdown. And when the clock strikes, Meghan won't be the one telling the story anymore. Here is a visual representation of Meghan Markle with her supposed daughter,